Hey guys, and welcome back to another Spore creation video. And for today's creation, we're going to be making an Indominus Spino. This was a entirely made up creation. The inspiration is quite simply, I was checking out, previous videos and thinking I really like the whole Indominus, Indoraptor, whatever kind of theme going on. I really like making those hybrids because it makes me think, with certain constraints, but still in a way that I can focus on other features of an animal. And I realised that, I've done the Indo-Theres, I've done, Therizino, I've done Godzilla, I've done all those kind of things, and yet I'd never done my favourite dinosaur, which is the Spinosaurus. It doesn't matter if it's bipedal, quadruped, adaptoped, whatever. I love the Spino, and when I realised I hadn't done one for that yet, it had to be done. So as for the actual creation itself, I couldn't really decide, from start to finish, I couldn't decide if I was going to be basing this on the Indominus or the Indoraptor. The colour scheme will look like Indominus, but I'll explain that when we get there. So, in the end, I kind of thought to myself, the Indoraptor was primarily quadruped, but was more than capable of walking on 2 feet. The Indominus Rex was clearly bipedal, but was able to walk on 4 feet. And then the Spinosaurus is just an endless messy debate of what it does and people changing their minds and whatever. So I figured that I was going to approach this creation in a slightly different way. I was going to make it a quadruped. I was going to make it mechanically, functionally in Spore a quadruped, because in Spore you cannot just happily, change around. It's got to be one or the other. So I made it a quadruped. But as you will see around this point of the video, I made the legs purposefully quite long, quite muscular. That way it looks like that they could, hold up quite a bit of body weight. The tail is quite large. It'll be altered a little bit more in the future, but it'll be like a bit larger, a bit more stiff. That way it looks more like a bipedal's, like a balancing kind of thing that the tails normally are. There's a word for it, I've forgotten it. But mainly with the hands and the arms. The arms are a bit more scrawny, so they do look quite a lot more like the Indoraptor. And the hands, I had a bit of fun with this. I did something here that I'd never done before when it comes to, making all these custom hands and feet. The feet, as you can see, the back feet are pretty standard, theropod, carnivore, whatever kind of claws. Whereas the front arms or the front hands, I actually made the claws kind of splay out in a bit of an awkward posture. It kind of looks like it's walking on the side of its hands, with one claw kind of poking outwards. I did that so that it would intentionally look awkward. It might look a bit weird. In my opinion, it actually adds a bit of originality to the creation. It doesn't look quite as cookie cutter as a lot of my other ones do. I feel like it just adds a little bit more, personality to the creation. And the fact that its hands are kind of awkwardly splayed out, it looks like it's not really that used to walking on all fours. It will if it has to, if it needs to, or duck down, but otherwise, it just looks a bit funky. So that was my thought process there. That way I can have a bit of a overall balance. It doesn't quite look natural, but it's walking that way, so surely it can, and all that kind of thing. And obviously it being, more of a hybrid and bioengineered, all that kind of thing. Again, I'm going to that when I get to the textures. I was hoping I'd make it look a little bit off in a way. At this stage here, I'm kind of just fluffing out the neck, fluffing out the musculature, making it all a bit more bulky, as it did feel a bit too Indoraptor by the stage, and which isn't a bad thing at all. But I couldn't make up my mind between Indominus or Indoraptor. I wanted to be a bit more bulky because at the end of the day, the Spinosaurs, I believe in pretty much every iteration, are normally quite bulky. They're obviously very large, so I wanted to kind of secure that, therefore adding a bit more musculature here and there. And when we got to the sail, I swear, me and sails. As much as I love the Spino, as much as I love to just go crazy on the sail, I've yet to ever find a technique for the sail that I like. And this is why you guys probably noticed every time I make a Spinosaurus and every time I try to make their sails, they are always different, because I'm always trying to get trying to find that new technique that I might like, that new style, or maybe I can use this part in a different way and it'll work magically. Unfortunately, once again, I was not entirely satisfied with the sail, but I did like the general gist of how it came out. At this stage, I'm, still exploring, trying to make that orange piece work. It just wasn't happening. And so instead, I went back to my original piece, which was having the large spines kind of poking out, and trying to go with a bit of a fusion, a bit of a hybrid, just again, trying to make it work. What my end goal was, in the end, I wanted to have something a bit more exciting, since, while making this, every time I thought that things were looking a little bit over the top, I remembered you know, that famous phrase said in the movie, bigger, stronger, more teeth. You know, they wanted things to be big and exciting. It had to be flashy. That was the entire point of the Indominus Rex. It had to be flashy. She had to, like, impress the crowds who were getting bored of dinosaurs somehow. I don't know how. And therefore, whenever I made this, you know, whenever I started to feel a bit extravagant with the creation, I reminded myself of that. I thought, actually, no, this could work. Like, in theory, this could probably work. When it came to using all these different parts to make the sail with, I kind of, in a way, I kind of conceded and ended up using the colour spheres because they have a bit of, like, depending on the pattern that you use, sometimes they texture out fantastically well, sometimes they're a little bit plain. And I feared they'd be a little bit plain for this. But I couldn't deny, though, that the colour spheres and, you know, how malleable they are, they're just too good, you know. It's a large, flat surface, and that's what I needed for the spine. So in the end, or for the sail. So in the end, I just stuck with that. You know, kind of use that to fill out the rest of the space. Added a couple of ethereal razors, a couple of, you know, spikes at the end. Again, make it really big and flashy. And thinking here, like, a little bit more Indominus Rex. I don't think it even had any spines in the first place, but... or spikes. But it just kind of had a bit more of a ferocious feel to it. And in the end, as the sail done, it does seem a bit too large, I have to agree. But I feel like it could work. I'm not saying it will work, but I think it could work, you know, have a little bit of creative freedom, and it could be, like, you know, quite a menacing design, you know, bigger, stronger, more teeth. In this stage, I'm working on the mouth. What wonderful fun mouths always are. Once again, using the colour spheres, as they've just, you know, very quickly become one of my new favourite parts to use in general. Wanted to have the large teeth sticking out because in my opinion, when it comes to spore creations, I'm not saying in general, but for spore creations, whenever you're making a dinosaur, in my opinion, having their teeth poke out just really captures the fact that, hey, it's a dinosaur, it's a big, scary, evil lizard, or reptile, or whatever. And so I had to, you know, add that in, and of course with the Spinosaurus, they did have, like, a bunch of teeth sticking out anyway. Later on, I end up exaggerating this look, a bit more of a crocodile, and start having their bottom teeth poking out as well. And I did that not only for the crocodile, for the Spino, you know, for the long snout kind of teeth design, but I also did that because the Indominus Rex had a bit of a screwed up teeth as well. Her teeth were all over the place. So again, I tried to capture that, like just a really sinister looking thing in general. The nostrils, you know, anatomically probably in the wrong place, don't really care. I had this great big bulge of a snout and I needed to put something there, so I put the nostrils there instead. For this whole purple part here, there's actually something completely new that I just kind of tried, went with it. Since the Indominus Rex, in a lot of her designs, she always had, like, a very, very rough, scaly, maybe like keratin, I'm not sure, very, very rough texture on the back of her head and the back of her neck, where like quills and spikes come out. Or not spikes, you know, little ostrodermis is the word for it. And I decided to try capture that again here because I see a similar thing with a lot of Spinosaurus illustrations where, you know, the back of their neck and skull is very thick, very tough, or, you know, it's got all that very, very large texture. Tried to get it here and actually, in my opinion, worked very, very well. It also just helped tie in the quills a little bit more rather than adding all the individual spikes like I normally would. Instead, I had that layer of, you know, the harsher texture there, put the quills on top, and it felt like it really came together nicely. And, you know, of course, obligatory having the rest of the, I think it is called ostrodermis, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong here, but those, you know, spiky, crocodile-like bumps along the back that the Indominus had as well, you know. Again, I couldn't quite decide if it was Indominus or Indoraptor, but I did want to capture as much as I could from either one or both or whatever. Again, it is just an Indo hybrid, essentially. That's what it kind of is right now. So at this point, yep, adding a couple of more teeth like I said I would. Adjusting the limbs a bit as the limbs were looking a little bit chunky. Trying to add a little bit of a bump to the nose because I was not liking just how much of a large, you know, bulbous nose the Indo-Spino has. Added a little spike, added a couple more spikes on the back of the head as well. Again, referring to Spinosaurus illustrations I've seen in the past. A couple of spikes around the shoulders and the thighs because I like spikes. And in the end, we have our Indominus Spino, or Indo-Spino. I have quite decided. Now, I mentioned the textures. And I mentioned how I could not decide between, you know, Indominus or Indo... Oh my god, saying Indo so many times. So when it comes to the colour scheme, yes, it's white. It's an albino. It kind of looks like Rudy from Ice Age. Not intended, but I'll take it. I went with a white colour scheme because I really like the black. I really like the black from the Indoraptor, but I couldn't add the shine into or anything like that. As you guys have seen my previous creation, it's you know, not really that easy to do in Spore. You'd think it would be, but it's not. Whereas with the white colour scheme, it actually makes the creature look ill. And I liked that. Because it is like a heavily mutated or bioengineered or whatever, and you can see its front claws a little bit messed up. The colour scheme makes its, you know, its feet, its hands and feet a bit pinkish, and it just makes everything look a little bit, I don't know, like it's been exhausted, which I guess is a very dreary and depressing way to look at it. But I really liked it. Since I tried out like texture, like this particular version, I really liked how it came out. It just looks like science is going too far, basically, and I really like that. Overall, I am quite pleased with the results here. It's a bit over the top, you know, it requires a bit of, you know, escape to imagination, which I hope that we can all do here, but I really like it. I'm very proud of it, and at long last, not only did I get to make an Indominus or an Indo, I got to make a Spino, and I'm happy. I love Spinos, so I'm happy to make any one of them that I can. So there we go, guys. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more, always subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you know what, blah 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 blah. And as always, I will see you all next time. Thank you.